Welcome all in my class. Feel comfortable to ask any question, to comment. Let me know if you understand what I teach. Let me know where you need help. Please write on the comment section. Okay? So today we are doing comparison. When you do comparison, students understand more. Okay? They see the difference. Today I'm going to help you understand the difference between multiplication of a matrix and addition of a matrix. And these two concepts, I will tell you what you need to do. What are you required to do? There is one thing that is common in both that you must know. You must know in multiplication of a matrix and addition of a matrix. There is something for the two of them you must know. Okay? Although the procedure of working on them is different, but there is something I want to identify that will help you do addition of a matrix and multiplication of a matrix. So I will be comparing addition of a matrix and multiplication of a matrix. So stay tuned up to the end of the lesson because you deeply understand the concept. And also I will be revealing to you what is important there. There is one thing that you need to know, and if you know this one thing that I'm going to tell you, you will be able to do multiplication of a matrix and addition of a matrix. Stay tuned up to the end of the lesson because I will identify that one thing, and this one thing will help you. And I know you will come back with testimonies. Okay? So today we are comparing. What's the difference between addition of a matrix and multiplication of a matrix? And do they share something? Is there something you need to know that can help you? I told you, even if I'm going to give you examples, I will give you examples. You don't need to cram the examples. I want you to understand the concept. That when you come to my class, you understand in such a way that you can teach others. You will not be among the students who got an A, who got an exceeding expectation, and they cannot even teach even one person how they got it correct. You will not be like those people. You must transfer your knowledge. God has given you knowledge. You have gotten it correct. I know you know how to go about it. You have not crammed the example. So my main goal is you understanding. It doesn't matter how long you are going to take to understand. Go with your own pace. You know yourself. Okay? So please feel comfortable to ask questions, to comment. Let me know where you need help. And I am here. I will rescue you. I know the feeling that students feel when you do practice and you cannot get it. You don't understand what you are doing. You are stuck. You don't know how to unstuck yourself. I am here. I can help you unstuck yourself. Maybe you have a question and you have done it the first time, you got it correct. And when you did it the second time, you failed. Why? You did not understand the concept. What you are doing, you are cramming the question. I assure you, you crammed the question. You did not understand the concept. Because you cannot tell me that you got it correct the first time. Then the second time, you fail. It means you are cramming the question. You did not understand the concept. Let's agree here. It's good you fail the second time, the third time, but when you get it correct, you will never get it wrong again. That one, I will be convinced that you understood the concept. Okay? So, today I will be comparing multiplication of a matrix, let me write here. What is the difference? What is the difference between multiplication of a matrix and addition? And addition of a matrix. What is the difference? That is what I will be looking today. I will be helping you understand the difference between multiplication of a matrix and addition of a matrix. Let me use a table so that you can know. Let me use a table. I think a table is more, I can be able to explain well when I have a table. Okay, so be patient. I will do faster. Mathematics need patience. If you are a person who rushes every time, I'm sorry, you are going to. Mathematics will be hard for you. You need to be patient until you understand the concept. You need to be patient with yourself, patient with your teacher. So that you can understand mathematics. Multiplication of a matrix. Okay, let me write the heading. I'll just write an exclamation mark because that is what we are looking at. Okay, okay, we are looking at what's the difference between addition of a matrix and multiplication of a matrix. I am going to use examples to explain. Okay, so there is one thing I'll start with. One thing that you need to know even before you come to addition and multiplication, you must know how to read matrix. Do you know how to read matrix? Don't even start doing calculation on matrix if you don't know how to read matrix. If you don't know how to read matrix, just don't even go to calculation, because you'll always, unless you cram the question, you will never get it. Know how to read matrix. Know how to read matrix. Every time you are given a matrix, first of all, you are given a matrix, the first thing you should do, you read matrix. You read it. And matrix is read, we use row by column. That's how we read matrix. Row by column. How many rows and how many columns does it have? We start with rows, then column. That's how we read matrix. Let me demonstrate. Let me demonstrate how we read matrix using an example. Okay, we have matrix here. We have matrix here 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 8. This matrix, what is the name of the matrix? I want to help you read matrix. Okay, we use, when you are reading matrix, when you read matrix, when you read matrix, when you read matrix, you use rows. It is rows by column. Row by column. That's how you read matrix. What is the name of this matrix? How many rows? This is the first row. This is the first row. This is the second row. This is the first row. This is the second row. Okay? This is the first row. This is the second row. So, how many rows? We have the first row, then second. We have 2 rows. 2. We have 2. How many columns? We have the first column, the second column, and the third column. Okay? We have the first, second, and third. So we have how many columns? 3. So what's the name of this matrix? The name of this matrix is 2 by 3. 2 by 3. Okay? And we also use this 2 by 3. That's how we use this as a way to represent matrix. So I have told you the first thing you should do is to know how to read matrix. Sometimes now you are wondering why I'm emphasizing. When you know how to read matrix, you will be able to do addition, multiplication. Okay? Any calculation on matrix, it will not be hard for you. You will deeply understand what is matrix because you already know how to read. And how to read matrix? You read matrix where you read rows by column. First of all, you started by counting rows. How many rows do we have? We have the first row and the second row. We have that's why I used one, the first row, then the second row. Then we have how many column? We have the first column, the second column, the third column. So we have 3 column. So our matrix, the name of this matrix is 2 by 3. 2 by 3. Okay, I hope you are with me up to that point. Now you know how to read matrix. That is the first step, even before you go to calculation. If you don't know how to read matrix, you will not get matrix. You will get a question correct this time, then next time you are going to fail because you don't know how to read matrix. So let's go to the next point. For both multiplication and addition of matrix, you must know how to read matrix. And I have told you, matrix, you read it like this, row by column. That's how you read matrix. Okay? If you don't understand how to read, please practice. First of all, know how to read matrix, even before you go to those complicated calculation. Okay? So I hope you are with me up to that point, because I had to emphasize, I had to take a lot of time emphasizing on reading the matrix. Please comment. Comment whether you have understood everything I have taught. Okay? Where you need help. Okay. Self-assess yourself as the class goes on. Okay? The way you self-assess yourself is by writing a comment. Do you know, now you see the need of subscribing to my YouTube channel. I know now you can see the need, because I will always identify areas that you need to be very careful. I will always give you foundation. Now you see the need. I know now you are convinced, and you can just use your index finger and subscribe. Okay? Okay, so now we are not going to look at the difference. Okay? Let's look at the difference. Okay, you are there. Let us read this matrix. It has how many rows? It is row by column. Row by column. Let's read the first matrix. The first matrix is 2 by 2. The second one, it has 2 rows and 2 columns. The second one, we start with row. It has 2 rows. Okay? How many columns? This is 2 by 1. This is 2 by 1. This is row by column. Okay? So you have seen row by column. Let's come here. Let's use the same one. 2, 3, 4, 2. I want to show you the difference. Something you need to be very careful. Please be attentive. Feel comfortable to ask questions. Okay, here you have been told to add a 2 by 2 matrix by you add it with 2 by 1 matrix. Okay, so I want to show you the difference. Is it possible to add this matrix to this? Is it possible? It is not possible. Why? When you are adding matrix, rows and column must be the same. Row must be equal to column. Rows must be equal. No, row must be equal to row, and column must be equal to column. Okay, what do I mean? Let me write it well so that you can understand. Okay, for you, so let me write it well here. For you to add a matrix, the row for the first matrix must be equal to rows of the second matrix, and the column for the first matrix must be equal to the column of the second matrix. So we have this one is 2 by 2 and this one is 2 by 1. I have shown you how to read matrix. You can listen to the video. That's where I started. So here for addition, rows must be equal to rows, column must be equal to columns. Rows, how many rows do we have here? We have 2. So because we read row by column, 2 by 2, so we have 2. 2 is equal to, so that one has passed the test. We have 2 rows for the first matrix and 2 rows for the second matrix. What about column? Columns, we have 2 columns for the first matrix, and we have what do we have? We have 1 column. So here, let me lab so that you can see well. Here 2 is greater than 1. So what do I mean? For addition of matrix, you cannot add matrix if the rows and columns of the first matrix must be equal to row and column of the second matrix. What do I mean? Rows must be, if you have 2 rows in the first matrix, now we have 2 rows. Also, we must have 2 rows in the second matrix that we are using to add. That we have been given, we have been told to add the first matrix with the second matrix. Though, when you add, you cannot be able to add 2 by 2. You cannot be able to add a matrix which is 2 by 2. You add it by 2 by 1. It is not compatible because columns, we have 2 columns. Here we have 1 column. So 2 is greater than 1. So columns must be equal. If the first matrix has 2 columns, the second matrix must have 2 columns. I hope you are with me up to that point. So for such a question like this, you cannot be able to do addition of a matrix. This is not compatible. Okay, this is not compatible. So let me write here. So we have concluded this is not compatible. You cannot add. We have this is not compatible for addition. This is not. Let me write not possible, because I want to use the simpler language that will help students understand. If you are told to add this matrix with this is not possible. I have explained. You can listen to the video. This is not possible. What about this? Okay, I told you the first thing you should do is to read the matrix. Now we are reading the matrix. This is row by column. I said it is row by column. How many rows? We have the first row and the second row. This is 2 by 2. This is 2 by 2. This is how many rows? 2 by 1. This is 2 by 1. This is 2 by 2. This is 2 by 1. Let me show you how we read. I will not get tired of repeating, because even at the start of the video, I have shown you how to read matrix. This is the first row, the second row. So we have 2 rows, which is here. We read matrix where we read it like this, row by column. Okay, so we have columns, the first column and the second column, the first column and the second column. Okay, for this one, this matrix is 2 by 1. This is 2 by 1 because we have 2 rows, the first row and the second row. Then we have 1 column, this 1 column. Okay, I hope you are with me up to that point. The first thing is to read the matrix. For a matrix to be compatible, for it to be possible for you to do multiplication, first thing, the column must be equal to rows. Let me write. The first thing you should identify is whether the columns of the first matrix must be equal to rows. What do I mean? Here we read row by column. Okay? So columns for the first matrix must be equal to rows of the second matrix. Okay, let me emphasize here. The first thing you should look at, if you want to know if a matrix, those 2 matrices you have been given, whatever you have been given to multiply, to do multiplication of a matrix, the first thing you should do is to read the matrix. Read the matrix and write the name of the matrix. This is a 2 by 2 and the other one is a 2 by 1. Okay? After you have read the matrix, identify, now look at the matrix and see that columns, how many columns do we have for the first matrix, must be equal to rows, the rows we have. So we have columns, we have 2 columns, and we have how many rows for the second matrix? 2. So this matrix is compatible. You are able to multiply. So we can go ahead and multiply. Okay? So, and the second thing that will tell you how your answer will look like. Your answer will look like this. Your answer will look like this. Your answer will have, you look at I told you reading matrix is very important. You look at the name of your matrix, the first one and the second one. We have said columns, the first matrix, the columns of the first matrix must be equal to rows of the second matrix. For us to put a stamp that this matrix you can be able to do multiplication. So now we want to find out how will our matrix look like? What will be the name of our matrix if we do after we have done multiplication? So we are going to do this. We have rows and column, rows and column. That's how we read matrix, I told you. So what do we do? The rows of the first matrix, and then you look at the column of the second matrix. So our matrix will look like this. It will look like this. Rows of first matrix, rows of the first matrix, then column of the second matrix. So what's the name of the matrix? Now it is 2 what? 2 by 1. The name of our matrix, when we do multiplication of these two matrices, this and this, we will get 2 by 1. Why? Our result must be equal to rows of the first matrix by column of the second matrix. Okay? Let me now help you do let's do multiplication. We have already explained. Now you cannot complain. Okay? So let's do multiplication. Let's do multiplication. Multiplication, how do we go about it? Multiplication, we times row by column. Okay? Row by column. And we said that our resultant matrix will be 2 by 1. Okay? So here we are doing row by column. Row, this is a row. Row by column. 2 times 4 plus 3 times 6. Row by column. 4 times 4 plus 2 times 6. So what do we get? 8 is 8 plus 18, 24. 8 plus 18. No, not 24. We are used to calculators. It's 26. 16 plus 12, 26. 8 plus 18, 26. 16 plus 12. Okay, 26. So we have the matrix. This matrix is 2 by 1 because we have 2 rows by 1 column. I hope you have understood. When we are doing a multiplication of a matrix, it is row by column. This row, then you times by column, row, then column. And the one that is giving us direction, I told you our matrix must be 2 by 1. I have already explained you why. You already know the result you are going to get. You will get a matrix like looks like 2 by 1. I have told you how to identify, even how you are going, the name of the matrix that you are going to get after you have done multiplication. I have told you how to identify. You will be able to identify the name of the matrix that you are going to get after doing multiplication, even before you do multiplication. I have explained. Please listen to the video. And if you don't get it the first time, listen even as many times as possible. And you are feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. Let me know, even for those who have understood everything I have taught. Please write something there. You must participate in class. Be a participator, okay? Here we participate. I'm just facilitating the class. here you feel free to participate, because my goal is to help you understand mathematics.